You know what I love?
Sports.
I love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M,
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Well, another day closer to the first day of fall practice. Maybe some vacay for some friends of mine.
Do we know when the first day of August camp is?
No, Coach Elko kind of alluded to it being next week.
I thought it used to be 1 month from your first game.
Monday, according to people in the back.
Yeah, I mean, they're always changing rules.
And let's do the math. Monday will be what day? Like August 1st or 2nd?
It'll be the 3rd.
The 3rd, so that would be a month.
Almost.
Month-ish, right?
Month-ish, yeah.
They probably have to take a couple days in between, but yeah. So we get practice starting.
All right. Sorry, I'm going to miss that first week.
It's all right. It's all right. You got to. We've had a busy couple of weeks, Opie. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah, it's I'm not going to get into it, but it's a kind of just one of those things you have to do.
Yeah. So I want to get into something before we get into our 25 and 25. Something we started to talk about yesterday, but we kind of weren't able to finish in the 8:50 block about preseason buzz. Okay. Mm-hmm. And as we mentioned, SEC voters had A&M at number 4 in their preseason rankings in the SEC, which I thought was better than I would have expected. But at PKO, Coach Elko was asked about preseason buzz. And he goes, I like when people speak about A&M football. They have the confidence in our players, our leadership, the direction of where we are going, and they talk about what we have accomplished positively over the last year, more so than getting on some preseason hype train. I don't know all the players, but I've got confidence that Texas A&M is going to figure it out. Talking about what people's perception of Texas A&M. And doesn't it go back to what we've been saying for a while now? Like, when you believe in the program and the structure, the players change, but the work that gets you to that level does not change.
That's true. That's why some programs, there seems to be good every year, no matter what. Mm-hmm. I still think you got to have the players.
Well, but A&M should have the players.
That's part of the process. So I'm confident that they're going to have a good season. I'm hopeful. What's even more optimistic than hopeful?
More optimistic than hopeful.
I don't know what.
Hopefully optimistic.
Yeah, well.
Google that, Coughlin. Find the word.
Anyway, that they will be really good, right? Mm-hmm. And we all know what my apprehension is there, and that's not going to change until I see it with my own eyes. But
okay, let me ask you this: fan hat, reporter hat, which may be hard for you to do.
Yeah.
You put your fan hat on for a moment. When you're a Cowboys fan,
12-0,
right? Well, enjoy what they've done so far, as opposed to until November, which I do. I do that all the time. We'll see you in November. Like right now, though, I don't know if they're a 12-0 team. I think they're more like a 9-3 team.
Yeah. But and I'm saying 8-4 until I see the offensive line actually be effective. I guess part of what goes on with me is. I'm reasonably optimistic, and I heard Billy talking about it yesterday, saying, "Hey, it's okay to enjoy the process." And it's like I've watched A&M fans, and they're like taking a vacation on a plane, but they're the guys, and they're kind of enjoying it, but they're apprehensive because they've survived a plane crash.
Yeah,
once you've been on a plane crash, I've never survived a plane crash, but because I've never been on one. But I would assume
our landing the other day was pretty close.
Yeah, that every time you're on if you ever were on a plane crash, you survived it. Every time you're on a plane, you're probably like, yeah, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. But there's something.
There's a little PTSD.
Right. So I look at things so much more with my reporter's hat all the time. And it always stems back to meeting the guys back when Lucci did the Belucci Hour at the Tap, and meeting the older guys who have invested everything their whole lives and waiting for that championship. And some of them, have run out of time. So I want it so bad for them.
Yeah, no, I love that. So my perspective, I grew up a Houston sports fan. And
sorry.
Yeah, I know. We've had some good years, but there were many years of, again, are you kidding me? So growing up an Aggie fan and a Houston sports fan, the Oilers 93, right? Or 92, excuse me, that Buffalo comeback.
Yeah.
The year before was the Denver Broncos comeback. The year after, 1993, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Oilers were leading them in the fourth quarter. Comeback, Joe Montana again.
Didn't the Texans also have a big lead on somebody?
They
like
had
24-0.
Yeah. That was the year that the Kansas City Chiefs won their
Oh, it was
first.
the Chiefs too.
Yeah, their first Super Bowl with
I guess
Patrick
that
Mahomes.
they're the Texas chief antagonist or Houston's chief antagonist.
So growing up a Houston sports fan and an Aggie, I have conditioned myself, because of my surroundings, because it's like group think, group therapy. Everybody, until, and I've said this story on the air many times, the UCLA game, I told my coworker, we'll probably lose this game. That's what I told him. I'd said it at halftime. We'll probably lose this game because I have conditioned myself to think that.
Well,
but it's not fair with this group, the way they're doing it. If they one day do that, then you can say, all right, it was the same old thing. But so far,
no, under Elko,
it's been
they
ascending.
come back from a big
There
deficit.
There you go. And you know this too. Very rarely have you seen me optimistic. I was like, I think we may come back and win this game.
He did.
Now, it might have been stupidity. I might have just been saying it in hopes. But I thought if they score first, all right, it's a game.
Yeah. And you needed a 4th and 12 to be converted to get there.
Which you gave a shout out to Marcel for that 4th and 12.
We should all.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to see more of that from him running. But no, I get what you're saying. I think there is reason to be optimistic, to be excited. And by the way, be excited for every single win. Not like, well.
We got Georgia coming. Now we got Alabama.
You fans should get the 24-hour rule just like the team does. You got 24 hours to celebrate it and then look ahead.
Yeah.
The fans, you should be able to have really 6 days to celebrate it and then look ahead. And then look, because you don't have to prepare.
We as talk show hosts and reporters, I kind of allow myself to look back until Tuesday.
Okay.
And then on Tuesday afternoon, it's look ahead. And there's always looking ahead. Like when we do Luchador on Sunday, we look back, we look ahead. Monday, we look back, we look ahead. By Wednesday, it is all about the opponent coming up, right? And for those players, they probably get till Saturday afternoon, and that's it. Or excuse me, Sunday afternoon.
Till the next day.
Yeah.
Celebrate it. Be glad with every win. But I understand. I get it. You've survived that plane crash. You don't want to go through it again. But we're going to get to our destination. I hope. That kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. But just so what he said here, you may not know the players, but through 2 seasons, they've got a track record of picking pretty darn good transfers, pretty darn good recruits.
Yeah, they do. And they've got a track record of winning. We didn't expect them to do a whole lot. 2 years, we can always talk about last year. And yet 2 years ago, as we know, they were in November with a great opportunity to make the SEC championship game for the first time, and that got away from them. Never should have lost to Auburn.
No.
And, had, despite getting up, they were down, 21-0? Talked about coming back, and, came back and got the lead. And,
but how different do you think things are today based on last year, 11-2?
Mm-hmm.
The year before, they just beat Auburn. Okay, let's say they still lose to Texas, but they beat Auburn. They're in the SEC championship game. Okay, whatever happens for there. But just, would people be talking about A&M differently or no?
Had they beaten Auburn and got? No, I don't think they would be because people obviously talk about them pretty good now.
Yeah.
I know this. If I can think of if two guys had decided to come back for another year, I'd be feeling a lot better. But they didn't. It's okay.
All right, it is time for 25 and 25, presented by Paragon Financial Advisors, an Aggie-owned independent fee-only fiduciary firm serving families and business owners nationwide. Visit paragon-adv.com. And number 24 on the list, Jordan Shaw.
Jordan Shaw. He came in and started playing a lot about
midway, maybe?
Well, maybe even less than that, but something was going on with Tariq Spell. And so he came in. I thought he played really well.
He played well in the Miami game.
He forced a fumble. Who did he force a fumble against? Was that the South Carolina game? Maybe not. I can't.
Mississippi State.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I thought when he got in there, here's what he did or didn't do. When he came in, you didn't notice that Tariq Spell wasn't.
Yeah.
There. It was. Okay, everything's fine.
He covered well in the slot. He's a guy that you spoke about a lot last year heading into the season.
I thought he might be pretty good. He did some good things at Washington. Maybe he's going to be the secondary equivalent of Cassius Howe. His first year, when he played, he did okay, rushed the passer, and then the next year, he was dominant. Maybe I'm not going to say he's going to be the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, but maybe we're going to see him go to yet another level in his second year here.
So Malachi Toney, when A&M played Miami, he was probably the best player on the field, right, that day?
It'd be hard to argue.
Right. He scored and I know Shaw covered him quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
He only had 4 receptions for 22 yards.
Huh.
Now, his impact was greater than that.
Well, he scored that. Really, scored a touchdown on a run.
Yeah.
Might have been a pop pass from where we were, but I think it was a run, and unfortunately,
and the wind played a factor in the offense.
I thought A&M had a shot at him, but Malachi Toney wasn't a dominant player in that game.
You definitely felt his presence, but he was. Yeah, I mean,
and Shaw was a part of that.
Yeah, Shaw was definitely a part of that. So the stats: 209 defensive snaps. 14 completions on 20 targets for only 85 yards. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah. So if they're catching, he's making the tackle right there.
So what will be interesting is how deep that defensive backfield is.
Mike Elko says it's really deep.
Yep. Where he plays, where Bryce Anderson plays. I mean,
do we think he's a starter at that nickel?
I tend to say yes.
Yeah, I tend to think so too. But they've got so many new guys like Byard.
Yep.
If you wanted to move him in there, they'll figure it out. If there's one place that I know that they're going to be solid and get the most out of them, it's going to be safety.
Yeah.
Because that's what
they got a group of guys there.
They do.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how he kind of develops this year.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is his last year of eligibility, if you guys want to look that up. Maybe with the 5 and 5.
He's a redshirt junior.
Redshirt junior.
He'll have another year.
Okay.
Well, all we care about is this year.
Yeah, but I like having people around.
That's going to be around.
Yeah.
Of course, if he has a good year, he won't be.
This is true. Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Well, if he has a really good year and he's not around, it's because we had a really good year.
And there you go.
Yeah. By the way, this is TexAgs Live, and we are presented by
David Gardner Jewelers.
Yeah, thank you for that. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. They got a group of guys that we really like.
Yeah, Jason, Jackson, Keith, Morgan, everybody else.
and the team, the entire team there.
The team.
And this hour is the
Go Hour,
presented by the
Warehouse of CC Creations.
And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. One way is to call us up on the Buppy's Catering and
Bartending
hotline, 979-693-1150, or you can text us on the
Catalyst Pure Performance Energy PPE text line.
Yeah, let's go around the room. We go left to right. We go behind the glass, through the television. We say hi to the director of the show. His name is Nick Savage. Nick, good morning.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
What's up?
Y'all love the FPI, right? ESPN FPI, that's your favorite metric to go off of?
No, I thought you said the FBI, and I was like, I wouldn't mind doing that as a career.
Yeah, but the FPI, everyone's favorite metric. I was checking it out this morning. They actually give A&M the 5th best chance in the SEC to make the playoff, which kind of lines up with how the media voted. Currently, they have them at a 38.8% chance to make it in. Texas, of course, is the highest percent chance to make it into the playoff. They give them a 70% chance to make it in. And across the country, Ohio State, 75.7% chance to make the CFP. So your thoughts on that, gentlemen?
OB?
Yeah, if you're the number 5 team by this index or whatever, okay, 5 teams got in last year, so you got a great chance. I would expect Ohio State or a team from the Big Ten to have the higher percentage because they have fewer difficult games.
Do you think this could be the year, that the mindset we were talking about earlier of doom and gloom eventually coming, changing? Look, I know that November happened and that's what people hold on to, but it has been 2 really good years of A&M football. 8-5 is not good enough, but I think you understand my point, what that season meant to the big picture. If they go 10-2 this year, like, let's just say what that does for fan mindset, not for that program. That program is just fine. But do you think that you get back-to-back years in the playoffs, back-to-back years with double-digit wins, does that change the way people perceive doom and gloom?
You know what? I hope I'm wrong on this. I think it would change or further enhance the way the national people feel about it. But I think you got to bring home a trophy.
An SEC championship game, a couple playoff wins, something.
Yeah, for A&M fans to feel like, I mean, they've had good years before, but haven't. I think, and Elko said it. Look, I know he was exaggerating, but I just show him our trophy case. There's nothing in it; it's empty. So I think you're going to have to actually bring home a trophy of some kind, and I don't mean a bowl game trophy, right?
Right.
A real trophy before maybe a lot of the actual Aggie population really changes their mindset.
Yeah. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Matthew Coughlin, what's up, buddy?
Nothing much. How are y'all?
Good. Did you ever find a word that was, what was it? Hopeful?
Something even more optimistic than hopeful.
I don't have a word for you.
Bullish.
But bullish is a good one. That's more of like a stock market trading type.
It works. You move it.
Yeah. So I'm going to take you guys back to 2022. Aggie baseball.
Okay.
So are we there?
2022 Aggie baseball? We're there.
2022 Aggie baseball.
We're in the time tunnel. Schlossnagel's our coach.
Now we're going to talk about the athletics organization. So the A's AA team, the Midland Rockhounds, now features 3 former Aggies from that 2022 squad. Nathan Detmer was promoted last week to join Will Johnston and Micah Dallas, all on the pitching staff.
It was a fun team.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was. That team that
was Schloss's first year.
Yeah, they got to the World Series.
Yeah, finished 4th, I believe, in the country that year.
That was the year I was at Savannah, Georgia, on a rooftop bar with my wife, enjoying a vacation. I got a call from Billy. Hey, when you get back, let's talk about you cover baseball. And you know what? I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
Because what a role that was.
That was a fun run.
That was fun.
What else?
Brandon Garcia.
Yeah.
Dominating in the major leagues. 2.28 ERA and a .87 whip in 27 2/3 innings. Has walked only 5.7% of batters he's faced while striking out 30.5. He is 99th percentile in expected ERA and expected batting average against, and opponents are hitting just .059 off his sweepers with an expected slugging of .089.
All right, good stuff there, Coughlin. Appreciate you. We'll hit a break. We will come back on the other side, OB. The performance of the week. Got to kind of dig deep because there isn't a lot going on. We can do some Major League Baseball players. I'll let Coughlin figure out some of those. I got a couple ideas for you. I'll let you think of 1 or 2 yourself, okay?
All right.
All right. Right now, though, first segment, typically we end with meat.
Yeah. Because we like to eat meat.
Love to eat meat.
And when I like to eat meat, I like to go to 1775 if it's Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
Take a seat and have your meat.
To eat. And greet,
others.
Others. Because, let's face it.
In the heat.
Well, you can go inside, though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But the food is hot.
It's elite.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else.
So get your feet
oh God
down the street, not too far, going toward just a couple miles down the road on the way to Snook, off to your left to 1775, where you can eat the meat that is the succulent brisket, the amazing pork ribs, that tremendous scrumptious, whatever you want to call it, the jalapeno cheese sausage. I highly recommend. They got excellent turkey. I'm not a pulled pork guy, but I know people that like it, and they told me they really like it there.
But you're not against pulled pork. It's not your go-to.
I mean, I'll eat it, and I reasonably enjoy it. I got to be in the right frame of mind.
Right.
But I'm never going to be in the right frame of mind for pulled pork when I have the succulent brisket and the pork ribs and the jalapeno cheese sausage, and of course, the queso mac and cheese.
Queso mac and cheese. The website is 1775txbbq.com. Call them up, 979-492-6241. It is 1775.
It's good.
We're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio, the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, where are we hanging out?
We're the Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
That's such a cool place to be.
It is kind of cool.
Right now, I feel the air actually hitting me.
Yeah, I know. It feels good.
Yeah, it does feel good. It is now time for the Knockout Performer of the Week, brought to you by TKO Equipment. Rent, sell, lease, or rent to buy TKO Equipment, which is your trusted source for used, heavy equipment. I'll give a couple nominees. Okay. Do you have somebody you want to start off with?
Well, I'm going to go for the lowest of the low-hanging fruit. I thought Mike Elko with his quip kind of stole the show at SEC Media Days.
Yep.
In fact, I think Mike Elko became the coach that everybody wants to hear.
Yeah.
And maybe Summerall was the second.
Summerall was really good. Yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to hear from Kirby Smart based on
history,
their success, but not because he says anything that's going to be that interesting. But Mike Elko gives you the really thought out answers. They're not, and it's not coach speak, and then he puts things in perspective.
All right, I'm gonna do an easy one. Let's give the staff at TexAgs a little love for the PKO. Miranda in particular for putting that together, Miranda Powers, who did an awesome job, and also just everybody who performed, when I say performed, read, had a speech. OB was hilarious and great. Zane, Nick, Callie, Kaylee, Kay Nagley. Kay Nagley had double duty as well. Like, we had a crew. I'm sure I'm missing somebody.
Luke
Evangelist was fantastic. I told him yesterday.
I thought he was really funny.
Yeah.
Wasn't trying to be, he just is. Not on purpose.
I thought he was really good. Yeah,
I'm joking, Luke. Yeah, I thought it was, you know what? I thought it was the best one yet that I've been part of.
I thought Hunter Goodwin's interview with Trev was fantastic.
Very educational.
Yeah, I learned a lot, and sometimes at that point in the show, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go home, and I was ready to go home, but I kept on wanting more from Trev. Like,
if we shave like 30 minutes off of it and make it about as long as a football game, instead of a overtime football game.
Yeah, but the people who go there, they want more. We could do another 5 hours.
Okay.
Just to hire somebody else to do the second half of the show.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to give another one. Will Lee. So I read this on the Carolina Panthers website. He got the play of the day at a practice this week, and it says Lee was beaten on a deep ball earlier in the day, but as Bryce Young wound up to send it deep to Xavier Legette, coaches saw a rookie shake any insecurities, doing what he does best, going after the ball. He bided his time before cutting across the ball's flight path for the interception, the Nabbit says. He turned, celebrated with the Rockets defense, then putted the ball across the field. So Will Lee making some noise.
A lot of SEC players in that report there.
Yeah.
You got Alabama's Bryce Young throwing deep to South Carolina's Xavier Legette, and Texas A&M's Will Lee coming over for the interception.
So, and then a shout out to the Utah Talons. I know you're a big fan of them. They ended up winning their second straight AUSL title. They did that right here in College Station.
Okay. Just the Talons. The rest of the Eagle goes somewhere else.
Yeah,
but the Talons.
Just the Talons.
Okay.
Yeah, the Utah Talons.
The Utah Talons.
Coughlin, you got some MLB players for us?
Yes, sir. We got two of them. So Braden Montgomery.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about his bat, but it just continues to be good. RBI triple last night, has reached 8 times in his last 4 games. Also ranks 82nd percentile in fielding run value despite getting a late start to the season, which basically just means an accumulated value of his defense throughout the season. So him getting a late start, late call-up, that's extremely impressive. He robbed the home run in Game 3 of the Astros series on Sunday, and then last night had a diving catch in right field. And then Michael Wacha dominated the Detroit Tigers, pitching 7 innings of 2-run ball en route to a 3-2 win for the Royals.
Good stuff there. Thank you very, very much. All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back. Charean, the Dream, on the show.
All right.
When do the Cowboys start?
I don't even know. We'll ask her.
Yeah. Oxnard, right?
Oxnard, California.
Yeah, we'll talk to her on the other side. Let's talk about my buddy Chance McClain, not just a filmmaker, he's a storyteller. Hired me at 1560 The Game years ago. You guys know that about him. I believe he's got an eye for talent. He put that whole team together. He's also got an eye for storytelling. And when he started Heritage Films, what his goal was to tell the best possible story for your family. So he does these documentaries for Aggies all around the country, all around the world, to be honest with you. And A&M is usually his biggest customer base because we like our stories. We like sharing our stories, our history. And he's got a bunch of Aggies that have hooked up with Chance. And this is before he got to TexAgs and since he's been at TexAgs. If you got a dad, you want to tell his story as maybe a special birthday gift, a mother, a milestone, a family party that you're going to have, let Chance and his team be an eye in the sky and do a 2-hour documentary for you and your family. Family business, family ranch, you name it, he does it. It is Heritage Films. Check out the website, yourheritagefilm.com. That is yourheritagefilm.com. 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. We are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Still the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Let's go to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We are joined by the Hall of Famer, our dear friend, the Aggie great, Pro Football Talk's Charean Williams. Charean, good morning. How are you, friend?
I'm good. I barely made it back in the house after the dog walk, but I'm back inside and back in the cool. So it's good to be out of the heat.
Well, happy to have you on. I know we missed last week because we were at SEC Media Days. I wanted to start off with, I saw the headline. I haven't read it, so maybe you can kind of explain what Kyle Shanahan is going through. And I know I did read that he's been cleared from concussion. He's been cleared from the concussion, I guess, protocol that I guess they have to enter regardless if it happened on the field or off.
Yeah, well, they don't really, there's really no standards for coaches, but it's good what the 49ers are doing, kind of holding him out, letting him be limited in practice and just kind of observe practice from afar. He was in a car wreck, 40 stitches in his face, severe concussion, which likely means he was knocked unconscious. We don't really have details of the wreck. I saw somebody said he might have been holding a cell phone, but we don't have the full details yet of the wreck and whose fault it was and exactly what happened. But he was driving a Tesla and obviously was involved in a very serious collision. Fortunately, the other driver was okay, and Kyle almost lost his right eye, but is going to keep that and going to be okay.
Yeah, let's hope so, right? Yeah. Even if he is from that other school over there, nobody should have to go through that.
No.
So, Charean, hey, what's going on with camp? Are you going to be heading out to Oxnard, or what's going on?
I will not be out at Oxnard. I haven't been since 2019, when the COVID year kind of knocked me out. I've never gone back. And I'm not going to lie, I texted a Longhorn friend of mine who works for the Associated Press, and I said, I miss our old days at Oxnard. We'd be eating at Lure tonight, which is a great seafood restaurant in Ventura. I do miss those days, and especially the cool weather, just getting out of the heat for 3 or 4 weeks is certainly nice, but we'll be keeping an eye on everything. Jerry's actually live on TV here at his press conference at 1 o'clock, so I'll be watching that and seeing what he says. You know, it's always entertaining. We've come up with all his Jerryisms at these various press conferences, especially at this opening one. He usually has some sort of line that is memorable forever.
Talking to Charean Williams here on TexAgs Live. Charean, what can you tell me as the Texans are going to start camp soon about that offensive line? I've heard people who love the Texans tell me they've done a great job filling that offensive line. What can you tell me?
Well, it's really hard to say simply because we keep saying that every year. Oh, yeah. They're going to be better. Oh, they're going to be better. Oh, they invested all these draft picks. Oh, they invested all this money in free agency to improve their offensive line, and it just hasn't improved. I just don't think that's something that their front office, their scouting staff is very good at. They just can't identify good offensive linemen. Now, some of the guys they got, Braden Smith is for real. He's really good, but he's oft injured. So we know the Texans have a history of injuries. So hopefully he can stay healthy. If he does, I'd almost guarantee that the offensive line is going to be better. But yeah, they until we see it and see what they can do in a regular season game, I don't think we're going to know what the chemistry is. But they've had a real problem getting that offensive line right. I'm doing a story on running backs and how they've kind of come back around. It's going to be a Super Bowl game program, and how the running back position in the NFL has come back around. They ignored it, said we can get anybody in there for a really long time. A lot of teams did. And it just doesn't work like that. Like, you need a running back, as the Seahawks showed with Kenneth Walker. The Cardinals drafted Jeremiah Love with the 3rd overall pick. We have another running back going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame and Roger Craig. I'll be there late next week to see that. So, all this running back has really come back around. But I was talking to Jimmy Johnson about this last night, and he talked about, you got to have a good offensive line. The running back's really good, but you got to have a good offensive line to go with that running back. And so they have David Montgomery, who we know has a history of being really good, but if their offensive line's not any good, David Montgomery's not going to be any good.
How old is that Montgomery, the guy? And that guy's been playing forever, it seems like.
I would say early 30s.
Okay, that's forever for
Yeah, 30-31.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's forever for a running back. Hey, which go out on a limb, tell us, which Texas NFL franchise is going to have the better offensive line? Because I don't feel really good about my team's offensive line.
And who's going to have the better year?
Well, I think the Texans have the better year. They're in the better division. They're in the better conference. I think they've got a real shot to go to the Super Bowl if Stroud's any good. I think the Cowboys will be decent. Who has a better offensive line? I think it's probably the Cowboys. Interesting, Olin. Tyler Smith got to camp yesterday, and he wouldn't rule out moving to left tackle. Now, he doesn't want to move to left tackle, but I do think he's their best option at left tackle, and that's the most important position, as we all know, for a right-handed quarterback on the offensive line is the left tackle position. So I think they really need Tyler Smith out at left tackle. I think he's their best option out there until they can find somebody who's good, because you got perhaps the best backup offensive lineman in the league at guard. So you have a ready-made guard to put in there if you move Tyler Smith to left tackle. And you want your best 5 offensive linemen on the field. And I think Tyler Smith moving to left tackle gives you that. So if they have Tyler Smith at left tackle, I think the Cowboys have the better offensive line.
Well, that makes sense, because if they don't have him at left tackle, the left tackle is going to be a bum.
Right.
Hey, agreed.
Charean, let's talk about the Panthers for a moment. Obviously, the news about Nick Scorton earlier in the week, that was terrible to see. But then I read earlier about Will Lee having a really nice day at camp earlier this week as well. I guess it's Tuesday, so it would have been yesterday. So just some thoughts on both of them. Obviously, Nick's injury and Will Lee trying to surge up the...
Is still there?
I don't know.
One of the
Damani Richardson?
One of the Panthers writers wrote, if I had picked 10 players that the Panthers could not afford to lose, Nick Scorton would have been on that list of 10. Really good rookie year, 5 sacks, really played well, was expecting, double-digit sack season and big things from him this season to take that next step. Now, the NFLPA is investigating because they were working on a wet field. It was the first day of training camp. You're not supposed to be doing very much. The phase 1 of training camp is conditioning, those sorts of things, weight training, conditioning. So the NFLPA is going to look at all the video, and hopefully it wasn't anything that the Panthers did that led to this, illegal that led to this. If they are, they'll probably lose a draft pick and some money and all that. But it's unfortunate for Nick that it happened, and it happened on the first day of training camp. The good news is he gets the surgery now. He's back for training camp next year. We all know it's about a year. So he'll be back for the start of the 2027 season, but it really stinks that he's going to have to miss the whole entire season. And yes, Will Lee is great, and I think he's got a chance to be a real contributor on that Panthers defense, and that's been exciting, I know, for him and for the Panthers to see the way he's played so far. Now, we'll see when he gets in games. It's going to be a little bit different, but so far in camp, he's really shown that the lights are not too bright, the stage not too big for him right now.
Hey,
we have to talk about Nnamdi. Let's mention Nnamdi Madubuike. I don't know if you guys were going to ask that, but great news on Nnamdi. He missed most of last season with a neck injury that looked like it was going to end his career. Happened in week 2. Real uncertainty about whether doctors were going to clear him to ever come back. He got cleared. He's coming back. He's expected to practice this week. Really exciting news for the Ravens and for Nnamdi to get back. Of course, we knew him as Justin Madubuike, if you wondered who I'm talking about, when he was at A&M. Changed his name to Nnamdi. But just an exciting time for him to get back on the field and continue his career, and a great career that it's been. So that was probably the best news of this entire week.
Pardon my ignorance, but when a guy like Nick Scorton gets hurt, I assume that his contract for the year is paid in full, as if he's playing. And then, does that have any effect on? What do you got to play the average number of years at your position to get the pension?
Yeah.
Does that have any effect on the long term as far as pension?
No, he'll spend the season on injured reserve, so it actually counts as a season.
Good.
So it goes toward his pension. So he gets a year of service. He gets paid for that year of service, and so all of those things are good. His medical care is taken care of, and I'm sure he'll have his surgery and start his rehab pretty soon and get on with it and try to get back. So just unfortunate, though. You hate that happens anytime, but especially before the season even starts. The first day of training camp, you don't even get into camp, don't even get into the season and have a chance to do anything all season. But like I said, the great news is that it happened so early that he'll be back for the 2027 season, probably part of the off season. If not that, he'll be back probably full go for training camp, I would expect.
Charean, what's your read on the quarterback situation with the Las Vegas Raiders? Kirk Cousins brought in to help mentor Fernando Mendoza, but who do you think is the starter day one or week one and maybe midway?
Well, they keep saying Kirk Cousins, and they want to have him go all year. I just think Mendoza is too good to sit, and I think Kirk's probably over the hill. So I think at some point when your record is what it is, which I expect it to be, bad, then I think that Mendoza's going to get his chance to go in there and play, and I think it's going to be sooner than later. There's not a real good. I had looked at their schedule when the schedule came out. There's not a great time for him to go in. Like you have a couple good defenses, bad teams you're playing, or the bye week around those, or something like that. It's not a real great time for that for him. They may just have to throw him in, but I think he'll be ready. I think he's really good. I know a lot of people talk about all his deficiencies. When I watched him in Indiana, and from what I've seen from the practices with the Raiders and what I've read from the people there, I just think this guy's got the it factor. I think he's going to be really good. They do have to be careful to not get him killed like the Texans did with David Carr way back in the day and some other quarterbacks we've seen that are rushed right into the lineup. And I think that probably happened to Bryce Young early, not with a very good team. And let him sit back and watch a little bit. So I do think he'll start on the bench, but I don't think it's going to be long until he's in there and playing, and I think he's going to play very well.
Charean, great stuff as always. Thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys.
All right, it's the great Charean Williams here on TexAgs Live. We'll hit a break. We'll do a final segment here on the Go Hour. Right now, headquartered right here on Highway 6 in College Station, the Rollo Insurance Group. They share our community values. They're right here in town. They're an independent agency that works for you, not the shareholders. And they provide objective consultation across all insurance lines in Texas and beyond. You can join thousands of Aggies with protecting what matters most. So when local matters hit home, like severe weather, regional economic shifts, Rollo agents understand firsthand that impact because they live here too. And their independence allows them to find you solutions that other places cannot give you. That's why so many local families and businesses make Rollo Insurance their first call. The difference is real. Call them up. 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Hey everyone, David Nuno here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. You know who this is?
It's the Eagles.
What song is it?
Is it? It's not "Take It to the Limit," is it? Yeah, "Take It to the Limit."
Take it to the limit. Hey, it's TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're going to go to the Angry Elephant. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Coughlin, let's close out the hour with some good stuff, buddy.
Well, we got some good stuff as Aggie soccer has named their new 12th man. Sydney Fuller, the junior goalkeeper, was surprised by her own teammates and given the jersey after practice.
All right.
She has made 20 starts in her career thus far, and the season will open August 12th at Rice.
I believe they have a scrimmage real soon, don't they?
August 5th, I believe.
August 5th? Okay. I thought they had one soon. So what else do you have for us, Coughlin? Anything on the YouTube or the chat? Come on. I want to hear some chatter. I want to hear some fighting.
Hey, batter, swing.
We got a lot of good stuff. We got one from unknown number, but offensive line, I think the tentative stance is because of what LSU's O-line did. Are we not deeper this year in the O-line? We have a great O-line coach. Also, this defense will be faster, more athletic, more physical than last year, and will be a better defensive unit overall.
Here's where I am on offensive line. It is my biggest concern, but that concern is tempered because I just think you got a really good coach, really good talent, and I don't believe that the LSU storyline has to apply for Texas A&M. Brian Kelly is not the coach that Mike Elko is. I think he's a different kind. When he was really good, different. For what works here in this community with this program in today's SEC, I think Elko does business differently than Brian Kelly did.
Well, I think the biggest difference there is not even Elko and Kelly, but it's I can't think of the guy at LSU's, Davis or something like that. Their offensive line, he was reviled in Baton Rouge, and wasn't retained by the new coach, as opposed to Adam Cushing, who I think is proven to be really good. But again, I don't know why does this guy think the defense is going to be that much faster?
I don't know.
I mean, he didn't say, so why would it be faster? I thought they were pretty fast last year.
But if your secondary is so much better, okay, the feeling is they'll be better than last year, correct? Even if your defensive line isn't as good as it was last year, and I think they will be really good, but let's just say they're not as good as they were last year. Hopefully they're better. But again, they work hand in hand,
sacks.
right?
You've heard of coverage sacks?
Yeah. So that split second longer might allow Anto Saka to get through.
Yeah, and maybe Anto Saka is faster than Cassius Howell.
I mean,
I don't know that he is.
Do a quick Google search, because I feel like I've recently heard Anto Saka talked about as like a top 10 pick by some people, and I was like, really? Is he getting that much love? And I saw it on social media. I was like, how real is that? Regardless, if he has a big year, he could be a day one guy, right? And if he doesn't, he's still going to be a day 2 or 3 guy. He's got that much of a great athletic profile.
Yeah, I understand that. He had 3-4 sacks last year at Northwestern?
Might have been more than that.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 4.
Do you have that number, Nick, on Anto Saka's sacks? He does, because Nick is on top of everything.
Last year he had 3.
3, okay. So
2024 had 3.5. 2023 had 5.5.
You're on one, buddy.
But I know this, at Northwestern, he's probably the type of guy that every opponent says, okay, we're going to put 2 guys on him because we don't have to worry about the others.
Right. You're exactly right. Anything for us before we hit a break?
90 to 130 range, day 2.
Okay, so day 2, not day 1. So I saw on social media he could fight his way up to top 10 status. Well, yeah, if he has 15 sacks, we can. So let's hope he gets to 15 sacks.
The A&M might be faster on defense. I just don't know why you would just accept that, because they looked like they were pretty good last year.
Yep. Thank you, OB. When we come back, hour number 2, Ryan O'Brien's coming in at 9:35. We'll chit-chat for the first half hour. 10 o'clock hour, Chris Doering. You're listening to TexAgs Live. This song sucks. I could see Nick dancing at his wedding to it though. Like that was maybe when it came on, he's like, "Hold on, groomsmen. I gotta go hit the dance floor right now."
This song did not play at my wedding. Me and Maura had this is more common now, but a list of do not plays, and it was pretty much like every basic wedding song you've ever heard.
Come on, man. I can see. Can't you see Nick like?
I don't want any Bruno Mars playing at my wedding. Thank you very much.
Nick has got like a martini in one hand and like a bottle of Patron in the other.
Come
just
on,
like
bruh.
walking in, just shaking.
Come on, bruh.
Come on, bruh.
Martini?
Yeah. Martini Nick.
No.
TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. So I got a couple of YouTube chats that I wanted to talk about before I get into this topic this hour. But, so AJ, or Angel Manza, okay, real name, not fake. I did a search, okay? He's listening in the Dominican Republic, so appreciate that. He's watching in the Dominican Republic. Shout out to you. We've got KM Cowdock 90. So he says, counterpoint, Nuno. I'm an 87 grad at the very beginning of Jackie, and I'm always cautiously optimistic. Can we do a poll, Nick? Do you think that's possible? We can do a poll on the YouTube
On
page?
the YouTube, yeah. What do you want to do?
Are you a optimistic ag or a pessimistic ag? Because I feel like I only hear from the pessimistic guys, except for Cowdock, right? But I feel like, and before we, let's go around the room, okay? Are you? Now your entrance into A&M is very late, right? Like when did you think about? What year did you start thinking about A&M?
Would have been 2 years ago.
Okay, so the beginning of Elko.
Yeah.
So all you know
First year was beginning of Elko.
Yeah. So all you know is like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I was pessimistic at the start.
Yeah, I don't think you count.
I feel like I'm optimistic now.
Okay.
Brief.
Nick, what are you? Preseason.
I would say preseason, optimistic. I would say I was probably pessimistic before I started working here, or at least in the biz, I guess. But yeah.
Okay. What do you think I am? What would you?
Pessimist. No. Yeah, pessimist.
I don't think I'm a pessimist.
All times you're pessimist.
No. I think I'm both. Like in the same conversation, I go from very optimistic to pessimistic. It's just I'm a bipolar Aggie, right? Shout out to all the bipolar Aggies out there. Like I can make a case for both of them. Like I think, you know what I am? I'm always thinking there's going to be a loss or two you shouldn't have. And whatever your ceiling is that year, let's say your ceiling is 11-1. I'm then like, 9-3. If your ceiling is 10-2, you're 8-4. Because I feel like I always think, Elko's helping me get rid of that, by the way. Like it's slowly like a toothpaste, at the very end where you have to like fold it so many different ways to get a little bit last bit out. We're there. Elko has done such a good job with the program that like I'm almost like beyond that. But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I just need, I think, 2 extra losses. So I'm curious. We'll check that here in a little bit. I know that some people are starting to vote right now, so we'll check on that in a little while. So embracing the preseason buzz, all that stuff. There are shows around the country right now that are doing a similar kind of show today as their camps are about to begin and like what they think about their team. So I was going to ask, and again, this can be a think tank, which SEC teams do you all think will win more games in 26 than they did in 2025? Now, here's the easy and hard part of this exercise. When we go through these teams, guys, if you've won a bunch of games, it's harder to win more, right? So you can be a better team per se, and I'm talking regular season wins, okay? You could be a better team per se and not win as many games, right? You could be a worse team, win more games, and still suck, right? So, but I just kind of want to go through what these teams have done and what I expect them to do this year. So, for instance, I'm going to use teams that I feel pretty confident are going to win more games. All right, and then you know math, right? You can figure out if it's like 25% more wins, whatever. You can do it on the fly. I know you're like a calculator, Coughlin. So, like for me, the easy ones are the ones that sucked last year with new coaches, right? They got to be better. They don't have to be, but I think Florida will be significantly better. Florida won 4 games last year. Okay. If they win 7 games, I think that would be a huge season for them. right? I think John Summerall is a coach that I would like to play for. Not that he would ever recruit me. I think that they already have good talent that stayed around. They don't have... Billy Napier was terrible, which is weird because he had all the same John Summerall hype a few years back. It just did not work. And sometimes coaches come to the SEC, it doesn't work. Jaden Ball is great. So they went 4-8 last year. They're going to be a better team. I don't even think it's a debate. How much better is what the question is going to be. And Nick, if you can give me the full schedule where I can read it and not need eyeglasses for an old man, the first half of the season to me is going to determine what kind of year that they have, because all those games are pretty manageable until you get to the Texas game, right? Florida Atlantic, I know they lost last year. They're not going to lose again. Campbell at Auburn. Auburn's a team in the exact same position. Ole Miss, that's going to be hard for them, right? They're hosting Ole Miss. That'll be tough. You've got at Missouri, I think very winnable. South Carolina, hard game, but you get them at home at Texas. If you can win, I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6, 4 of those games to start, I think you're going to win 7. I think you can beat Florida State, although they'll be different. Vanderbilt's not going to be the same. At Kentucky to end the season. Oklahoma and Georgia. So I'm fairly confident, based on what they have coming back and what their schedule, how it lines out, that they'll win at least 6, 7 games, which would be obviously more. Agree, disagree?
Yeah, I was about to say, looking at the schedule, like Florida Atlantic, Campbell, win-win. Got a chance to beat Auburn. Got a chance to beat South Carolina at home. Kentucky definitely on the road. And, what will Florida State be? Will Mike Norvell even be around when they play that game at the end of the season? So there's possible 5 or 6 wins right there, which would make them marginally better, but better than last year.
Yeah, I'm going to go 6, 7 wins. And I don't say that to be funny. South Carolina. You already know that I was not scared of them at all last year, and I'm scared of them this year, right? Because I jumped from side to side. They won 4 games last year. They're going to be vastly improved. Vastly improved. Well, Norris Sellers returns. Dylan Stewart returns. Kendall Briles takes over an offense. And you might want to Google this. I believe they were in the bottom last year of scoring in the SEC. I think 22 points a game, something like that. I read
22.7 points per game, but who knows where that ranks? Matthew, you'll have to get that.
Right, but 22.7, I do believe with Kendall Briles taking over that offense and, a little bit more time with players getting a little bit more seasoned, I think they're going to be significantly harder. Nick Harbor, he's a very straight line wide receiver. If he can actually learn how to run routes, we saw him straight line against A&M. I think they are absolutely, again, this exercise seems easy for the 4-win teams because you made a coaching change. You shouldn't be worse. You have something for me?
Yeah, they're second to worst.
Second to worst. Okay. Another one I think should be pretty easy. LSU. They won 7 games last year? They won 7 and 5?
7 and 6.
They're at least an 8-win team this year, if not a 9 or 10-win team. A lot of people have them in the playoffs, right? Lane Kiffin is a significantly better coach. He is, I'm sorry, you may not like him. He's really good. Charlie Weiss Jr. goes with him. That offense, whoever he works with. And I think Blake Baker, who cannot figure out Marcel Reed, and I hope he never figures him out, is a very good defensive coordinator. The question for LSU, to me, will be, is Sam Leavitt healthy? If Sam Leavitt is healthy, and he will produce with Lane Kiffin. That's just how it works. September schedule for them, though, is the interesting one. But yes, you look at September, they've got that part right there where they've got Ole Miss and Texas A&M. And after that, it's manageable. But if they Clemson, I forgot about Clemson to start. Although I don't believe in Clemson, you look at that start of the season, that first month, you'll know what kind of team they're going to be in that first year. And it'll be interesting. And then look at their November. Alabama, Texas at Tennessee. If they get off to a bad start, that 7-win win total from last year is not a guarantee to be eclipsed, although I feel pretty good that they'll beat Clemson. They'll split the Ole Miss, Texas A&M game and hopefully lose to A&M. I feel pretty good about that. Lane Kiffin might have his best game of the year at Ole Miss against all that adversity. So I'm there. Where are you guys on LSU?
Pretty much, yeah. I think you hit it on the button. I think 8 wins would be the low end. I would say 8 to 9 range for me. That last stretch, I think they probably go 2-1, so that'd be sitting at 9-3.
Yep. Okay. Nick, Arkansas. How many games did they win last year?
They won 2 games last year, 2-10.
This is the easiest one on the list. They'll win more than 2 games. How many more? Maybe 1. I don't know. I mean, actually, I look at that and I'm like, I don't know. Like
North Alabama and Tulsa. They're your 2 wins.
Well, they got to win more for this exercise to work.
Yeah, I know.
They'll win an SEC game, right? A SEC game. They'll win 1. They almost beat A&M last year. No, they didn't almost beat A&M. That was a shootout, though. Like that was scary. They had it, but it was scary. So, do we all feel confident that they're going to win at least? They have a new coach, also an offensive line coach, by the way, Silverfield. I mean, I'm not as confident on this one, but yes, I do think that they win more than 2. Agree, disagree, group.
Confident? No.
Disagree. Yeah, I disagree.
You think they go 2 wins again?
Yes.
I don't. They're going to double their win total. They're winning 4.
Oof.
Another one. I feel very good about their win total going up. I might be wrong, because sometimes I am. And if I'm wrong, we will never bring up this topic again. If I'm right, I will tell it to you every day of next season. Kentucky. They won 5 games last year. I was never in favor of Mark Stoops coming to Texas A&M. Okay, never. And I know that's easy to say now. I mean, could I have found myself to be like, okay, I guess. Sure. But I thought he was just a defensive Jimbo. The game had passed him by. They have an innovative coach who brought in a top 15 transfer class, who brings in a quarterback that almost won the Notre Dame starting job. I do believe that Kentucky is a 6 to potentially 7-win team this year if they won 5 last year. They're not going to beat A&M, but I am worried about them, guys. I'm worried just because with all that new talent and new system, there's no way to really evaluate who they are just yet. So I evaluate A&M, and I think A&M beats teams that they should. So that's where I am with them. Give me their schedule again, Nick, if you don't mind. But they need to win 6 to 7 games. Their start of the season is pretty tough, right? Youngstown State, not hard. But then the middle 2 games, Alabama at A&M. Can they beat South Carolina? That's right. They're 3 wins right now. If they beat South Carolina, I don't think they're beating LSU or OU. Vandy is a huge question mark. Can they beat Florida? We already talked about Florida. Can they beat Louisville? I don't think so. It may be hard to get to that 6-win total, but if they won 5 last year, I think 6 is certainly in the cards for them. Agree, disagree, don't care.
Disagree.
So you think, okay.
I think I had a hard time getting to 6 wins looking at that.
There's 2 ways to look at this, guys. Part of me is like, give me all the easy teams possible. Give them all to me. The other part of me is, give me all the hard teams possible as long as we win. All right? Let's say they're an 8-win team, A&M beats them. You probably won't get any credit for beating a Kentucky team regardless. But I got to think they would be a little bit better, guys. All right. Teams that I don't think will win more. Well, Mississippi State. How do we feel about Mississippi State? Because I think quarterback-wise, they're pretty good. Kamari Taylor's really good. I think Jeff Lebby had that team playing hard last year, almost winning games. I don't know how I feel about Mississippi State. How many did they win last year? Nick, do you have that? 5?
5 and 8.
Could they win 6? Sure. Could they? Sure. A team that I'm not sure about, actually, I'm certain they won't win more games, is Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's not going to win 11 games. They went 10-2 last year, right?
Yep.
They're not winning 11 games. Okay? Sorry. I love their coach. I do. I think Clark Lee is awesome. But the first half of their schedule is not bad, other than going to Georgia. I just can't see them being, but think about it, guys. Let's see. Austin Peay, Delaware, I don't know about NC State, at Auburn. Their first half of the season is quite manageable, and I wonder what that does for them at the end of the year. But they're still not winning 10 games. All right? It's Vanderbilt. I was shocked when they did it last year. And they had Diego coming back. They're not doing it. So I'm out on them. Now, I would not automatically put A&M on the more wins category as much as I want to. But I am not saying they won't be a better team. The TBD continues here because if you ask me today, Is A&M going to win more than 11 regular season wins? I'd say the likelihood is not high to go 12-0. Could they have a better season? Well, what does a better season look like? Get into the playoffs at 10-2, maybe get into the playoffs at 9-3, win a couple games. That would be a better season. Would you trade a 9-3 and playoff win season over 11-2 losing your playoff game?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but from a regular season win total, I think that becomes very difficult. Georgia, how many regular season wins did they have last year?
They won 12.
They were 12-2.
12-2, but they lost one in the regular season, right? So, again, hard to say they'll be better. They have a much more manageable schedule. They're in sure, it's Georgia, why not? But I can't predict that. Ole Miss, they went 13-2, right? Which means they went 11-1 in the regular season. No. The answer is no. Why? Because Pete Golding's not Lane Kiffin. That's why. I just don't believe it's going to work out for them the way they think it is. The first half of the schedule, not ridiculous. But then, at Texas, middle of the season, at Oklahoma, I don't see them being an 11-1 team. Again, A&M, Ole Miss, Georgia, these teams are hard to say more. Like the next team, Alabama, they won't win more games. They will not. I just can't fathom a world where Alabama wins more games. When you have a brand new starting quarterback, you can't expect to be better. How's their schedule? First half of the season, it's going to be hard. It's not ridiculously hard, but it's going to be hard. Second half, you host A&M, you go to LSU. You lost to Vanderbilt the last time you went there. Just saying, that's. I think Alabama is probably a 9-3 team, and they went 11-1 last year in the regular season. Oklahoma, everybody loves Oklahoma. I don't see them winning more games. They did lose some pieces to the defense. They might be better, but they have a murderer's row schedule again. Texas, I think they'll win more of the games. I think they'll probably be a 10-win team. That is not a guarantee for Texas. Look at their schedule. Again, if we talk about the first month and a half of their season, they could be going into their bye week, really early bye week, by the way, October 3rd, and be 2-2. I don't see them losing both of those games. In fact, I would expect them to be 4-0 going into the Oklahoma game, and maybe that be their first loss. But at Tennessee, ain't no joke. And if Josh Heupel's got that offense figured out, which he always does, and that defense should be better with Jim Knowles, should be. That's not a guarantee. Ohio State, obviously, talent for talent. Those two teams are going to have the most talent on display on that weekend. But ain't no guarantee. So there's no guarantee for anybody in the SEC and Texas that they're going to win more than 9 games in the regular season. I expect them to. I expect them to be at worst 10-2. But that's because I probably have bought into the hype that everybody has kind of just spoon-fed us the last few years. So where are we? Do we agree, disagree? The only teams that you can feel pretty good, and then when I start making the case for, South Carolina, Kentucky, Arkansas for sure. Arkansas won 2 games last year. It should be easier to eclipse that win total. What does Vegas have them winning?
4.5.
Vegas is usually right.
Taking the under.
Wow. Well, all I know is that team last year, they don't have Bobby Petrino anymore, and that offense was clicking with Bobby Petrino, especially at his first game against A&M, or at least first home game. There's no guarantee for any of these teams, but I feel pretty confident on the teams that will win more. And of all of them, I think Florida and Auburn are 2 teams that I feel pretty good about winning more games. Kentucky, I think I'm right about, but that's still a huge TBD. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll find out what's cracking on TexAgs today and get to your text messages. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. Remember, your trade-in's got value, and at Caldwell Country Chevrolet, they're going to give you top dollar for your trade-in. They don't just sell cars, they build relationships there. They have a very strong and committed sales staff that's going to guide you through the entire process from test drive to that final paperwork. and the service does not stop after the sale. Complimentary pickup and delivery for their service customers, and that free oil change for life. Experience what it's like to do business with a dealership that actually cares for you, where handshakes still matter and also good people still matter. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. Hey guys, David Nuno here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites, while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. Everybody, David Nuno here of TexAgs, here with part of the team from Frog Slayer. We've got Tim Scott, the head of product strategy and design, and Tori Maddox, the senior marketing manager. All right, Tim, who is Frog Slayer? What do you all do?
So Frog Slayer is a custom software and AI and automation shop. We've been helping folks in the Bryan and College Station area for years with their custom software. But more and more recently, we've been getting questions from businesses asking about how AI can help them.
And Tori, I bet there's a lot of businesses with questions about that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's why we're actually putting together this event series called Table Stakes. It's a peer-to-peer roundtable discussion that allows business owners to come together and have open and honest conversations about AI, automation, and how it's impacting their businesses.
Tim, what do these events look like?
So imagine you and 8 other owners gathered around a table talking about what ate your week, what didn't go well, what went great, trying to figure out how AI fits into it, maybe seeing some real examples of some tools, and then afterwards grabbing a few drinks.
I like the way that sounds. All right, Tori, how does someone sign up?
Yeah, you can sign up or request a seat by going to frogslayer.com/roundtables. There you'll see a list of upcoming events and you can request to join us.
Tim and Tori, thank you very much. Go check out Frog Slayer, guys. We are back. Back again. Sorry. Why are you shaking your head? TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jules Rollo Insurance Studio. Parnell Rigsby, 22. David, what is your main concern starting the season? Running back, 1. 2, quarterback, 3, linebacker, 4, Elko, Reckiver, Sark, 5, Lucci. I can't tell if that's a serious question or not. My number one concern is none of those. Parnell, I want to see if you're a Longhorn asking or if you're an Aggie. But I would say my number one concern, come on, Parnell, do you listen to the show? What's my biggest concern? Let's ask the group. Nick, what's my biggest concern?
Will Marcy?
No, you're wrong too.
No, okay.
What's my biggest concern?
Offensive line.
Yeah, guys, and it's not a huge concern. It's a concern because it's new. It's a concern when you have 4 guys in the offensive line that are new, right? So that, to me, and the concern isn't the evaluation of talent. The concern is how long does it take for an offensive line to come together? That's my concern. Luckily, you get tested with Arizona State early, but I feel like there's a ramp up to when you really need that offensive line cooking. And that makes me feel better about it. But how long did it take the Texas offensive line last year, which was a bunch of youngsters playing together? It took them a while to get going. And once they figured it out, they figured it out. My biggest concern is that. Now, do I have concerns everywhere? Does Marcel take a step? Of course. But for me, it's the offensive line. And I take my cues sometimes based on what they say. Like when Coach Elko talks, he doesn't seem to have a huge. What was your takeaway from this weekend? I think he talked about it, and he definitely talked about it at SEC Media Days. He didn't seem overly concerned. He feels good about the level of talent that they have there, both young players and the guys that have gotten in the portal. I think he feels pretty good about it.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Thank you. It's just me talking to myself today on TexAgs Live. I'm going to tell you what's on TexAgs today. Just kidding. Coughlin, what do you got?
Well, we got a big one. First special interview with Texas A&M pitching coach Barry Enright later today. Recruiting long form with Jason Howell and recruiting Q&A with Jay Sean Mitchell. That Barry Enright one, that's a big one.
That is a big one. Thank you for that. What else? Anything else on TexAgs today? That's it? That's all you got for me?
It's the best stuff we got. That's
best
the top tier, the only TexAgs got today.
Okay. I follow. So let's kind of put this all together. We take all the information, we put it in a ball together, and we figure out what we think about things. You guys know where I am on the optimism scale, where I have concerns. The concerns are the offensive line and the road schedule, right? Do I think that they have really good talent on the offensive line? Yes, I do. Do I believe that this team will win more games than last year? As of today, I don't believe that. And that's okay, because last year, I think I said at this time, and Nick, you can remind me, I think I said we were going to be an 8-14 team last year. Did I not say that?
Yeah, that's where it was at.
And I was wrong. And maybe I'm conditioned to say, I think this year, more like a 9-3 team. And what does that mean if you're a 9-3 team? Well, and he did ask about his record against Sark. I am not concerned about the record against Sark. I don't want to lose to Sark again. Right? I think the way Elko presented it at PKO was that we're 1-1 right now. Yes, we're 0-2 against Texas, but we're 1-1 on seasons we'd rather have. In 24, Texas had the season that A&M wanted to have. In 25, A&M had the season that Texas would have rather have had A&M's season. They would have. Now, you can say you didn't want that, but I think at the end of the day, take away loyalty, pride, all that, and just, would you rather be a playoff team or not? Would you rather host a playoff game or not? That's the end of this conversation. Now, you can say for optimistic reasons, yeah, but we won our last couple of games. We feel better in our... Okay, feeling better in the offseason means jack for the upcoming season. It doesn't mean anything. What matters is what you do when the games start. Anyway, we'll hit a break. On the other side, Ryan O'Brien's going to join us. We'll chit-chat with Ryan about all good things happening. He's got his grind event coming up. We'll talk about the season coming up and all that. Right now, let's talk about the Association of Former Students. This is really good news for all Ags everywhere. If you've ever wanted a one-stop shop for nothing but Aggie-related content, the Association of Former Students is proud to share the AggieSpirit.com. That is the AggieSpirit.com, a website designed for the Aggie Network, where the 12th man can scroll anytime, anywhere. They also have features of nothing but Aggie-generated content, from social news, Good Bull, what's going on at A&M with education, research, campus life, to former students doing cool things. You can like the content, giving it a gig 'em, or share the content on your own personal network via your social media channel of choice by giving it a whoop. On the AggieSpirit.com, you also have the opportunity to share your own Aggie content for the opportunity to be featured on the website. For over 147 years, the Aggie Network has existed and would not exist if it weren't for the Aggie Spirit. It's because of friends like you and help fuel the Aggie Spirit across generations through generosity and Good Bull. It's always been about the Aggie Spirit. Visit theaggiespirit.com today to experience the latest Aggie content across social, news, video, and more. It is the Association of Former Students. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Fall camp is here in a couple of days, and our next guest knows what that's all about. Ryan O'Brien joining us, our good friend who played at Texas A&M, and he's just busy, man. He's telling me about all his work stuff. Like, you've got too much on your plate. I don't know how you do it. But Grit Academy, let's talk about it. What you have stuff going on this week?
Yeah. So Grit Academy is starting up. It's a new venture through Jira Fitness. Basically, we're bridging the gap between sub-varsity athletics and getting them to be ready for success on varsity. So basically, we have teenage kids. So we got a group of 10 that we'll have, and we're going to do speed and agility. We're going to do lifting, but really big, we're going to do our mentorship piece.
Okay.
So we'll have one-on-one mentorship with our cohort that'll go for 9 months, and also we'll have classes once a month where we'll actually talk about the principles of grit, mental toughness, goal setting, how to handle yourself within the game, post-game, handling a family, how to handle life. And we're bridging a gap because, like, in sub-varsity athletics is really challenging for those coaches to really be mentors, to really get into the ins and outs of those kids' lives. And that's what Grit Academy is going to be able to do for our kids. So I'm really excited. We start up on Saturday, and we're going to be at Boone Fit University right now next to Veterans.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to partner with them as well.
Shout out to Charlie and them, yeah.
Yeah, Charlie, and we'll do our classes over at Walk-Ons with Corey Davis and with them. So
that's great.
It's great, yeah.
I think something you said there caught my attention. So my daughter's, I have 2 daughters. One is in 8th grade, so she'll be going through this transition next year. And then Annalise is a sophomore. And I didn't realize it until she got there, but she was blessed to play varsity last year on the soccer team. But that transition of playing with girls your age, right, or boys your age,
Yeah.
and then transitioning to playing with grown women.
Right.
Because when you get to high school, if you know, either you're trying to play on that top team, you're on that top team, or you're trying to, the level of competition isn't just your age group. There are people at different kind of phases of their growth that you have to compete with. So I think Grit Academy speaks to that.
Yeah. So the biggest piece is mental, right? Physical is physical, right? And we'll build those parts up. But mentally, how do you handle losing for the first time? How do you handle a coach maybe not being, yelling at you or whatever the case may be? How are you going to handle the social pressures of school, right? Of life, where you have a girlfriend or whatever the case may be. How do you know how to navigate through that? And so what I do is impress upon my experiences as a varsity coach, being a former 12th man, being an Aggie football player, walk on, all those things, father of 5, impress into those young people to be a better version of themselves. So I'm excited. For it.
How can people sign up for it?
Yeah, so you go to my website, ryanobrien.com. It's a small, intimate group, and we're going to be able to. It's a comprehensive program over 9 months. Each month we have a different phase that we discuss, talk about, training, all those things. So it's going to be fun.
Is it ever too late to be ready? And I'm transitioning to fall camp now.
Yeah.
So luckily in today's world of college athletics, I mean, there's these off-season training programs that are put in place to not allow you to really get out of shape per se.
Right.
But if you're a couple days from fall camp and maybe you haven't done enough, can you use fall camp to get there, or is it too late?
I personally think it's too late for how high level it is. It's like, I even try to teach kids, even at this point, as little as kids, teenagers, preteens, is like, you use the practices as games, right? This is the when practices is for you to prove to the coaches, prove to your teammates that you're ready and you're somebody to rely on. The game is just really an offset of what you've already done, right? And I think you have to have that mentality when you're at a big time program like A&M or pro ball. Is you're treating the practices as, I'm proving what I can do. I'm proving to myself what I can do. And it should be no letdown. So if you're going into fall practice trying to get in shape or trying to get out the rust or whatever the case may be, you're already too late, in my opinion, because it's too competitive.
Right.
You're 3 to 4 positions deep on the position groups. You're gonna fall behind if you're not ready to go day one.
how do you stay in shape during the season? And follow me here. So, like, people have this whole off season, right, to get ready for the season.
Yeah.
Then practice happens. And yet you are training, but it's a different type of training. It's a specialty training. Now you're training with your position group. You're training schemes. You're training game day planning, right?
Yeah.
So do you lose fitness? Do you how do you maintain when you already have a lot on your plate?
Yeah, I think that's the real challenge. I think for the best strength and conditioning coaches, sports performance coaches, is how do you continue to integrate lifting? How do you integrate running into a program in season? And some of the best football programs, they're able to continue to get better. You think about the Indiana program, which I'm not in the ins and outs of that program, but you can see how they steadily have gotten better throughout the year.
Yeah.
A&M is trending to getting better throughout the year, knowing how to mileage control. So you can't continue to beat down your body throughout the year. So knowing proper stretching, mobility, the use of TRX, those types of things where you're continuing to put a strain on your body, but not too much taxing. Knowing when to shut it down. Knowing when, hey, we got to go half shell. Now we got to be able to, can we practice with just helmets? Being able to teach that to the kids is vital to them being successful and being able to have a 13, 14, 15 game season. You got to be strategic. And I know over there at in the football complex, they're very strategic. I mean, Mike Elko knows exactly what he's doing. The strength and conditioning coach, Moffitt, they're experts on that. So I think as a fan base, I think we should be very excited that they know how to go through an entire season and be successful.
Well, I'm going to follow that up because I think we're about to see some uncharted waters for everybody in the SEC with that 9th game.
Right.
And people are like, well, you're still playing 12 games. Why does it change? Well, the battle in conference is completely different than some of these non-cons, right? So when you add a 9th game before hopefully an SEC championship game, like, what does that do to your roster? What does that do to your body? And how do you kind of strategize the reps that you get during the year to make sure you are at your best at the end?
Right. I think we talked about initially how our program is maybe 3-4 positions deep within the depth chart. We really got to utilize that in the first half of the season. Where from O-line standpoint, are you playing 8 to 10 O-linemen in the beginning of the year, right? Are the running backs getting used? Receivers, are they getting the playing experience on the defensive side? And if you do that, that'll allow us to have the longevity throughout the season. But if we're playing only one position deep, second string, that's only 2 strings that are playing, it's going to be very tough to be successful because even if they're good, they're going to get banged up. They're going to get hurt. Even our second and third string quarterbacks, they got to be ready to play and ready to go. I mean, it'll be very challenging. It's very rare for a quarterback to just play the entire season without getting no dings, not coming out at all throughout the game. So they have to be very strategic about playing as many guys as they can. And everybody in the roster is going to be vital to their success.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the offensive line, which is my big question mark.
Yeah.
For you, what makes or breaks a new offensive line? What is it like if you are evaluating? How does that go from, this is a new group, but they were able to do this?
Yeah, so being a varsity O-line coach, having that experience for about 3 years, I think it's very important that you got to have chemistry within the offensive line, which is very vital. That's going to take time. I think is it 4 new transfers that's going to be starters?
If they're starters, because if not, they're young players starting.
Yeah, so it's the chemistry of understanding, blitz pickup, understanding how to work a double team, how to work with the tight ends. That's just going to take time. You're going to have to be very strategic during fall practice, during the first games to really get the calls down, those types of things. They have the talent, but the thing about offensive line is not, you need talent, no doubt, but what you got to have is you got to play as a unit, play as one throughout there. But even with that, you're still going to have to play 8 to 10 linemen for them to be ready to go. So in the beginning, in fall practice, in the first 2 to 3 games, they got to continue to rotate guys to see what's the best fit. And they might figure that out at the end of fall practice. But even if they don't, they still got to be able to know, okay, we can maybe plug this guy at guard. Maybe that guard can now play tackle?
Sure.
Right? Who can all play center? Those are the questions that has to be answered in order for them to be successful. But I also think a good O-line is based around what the quarterback is doing, also with the running backs. Are they in force protection? Marcel, is he dumping down the ball? Is he getting the ball out quick? That also can help out the O-line as well. So it's not just 5 guys blocking. It's an entire offense being able to work together.
Let's talk about the run game before I let you go.
Yeah.
No Lev this year, but Ruben's taking some steps. Jamarian. They've got some other guys that they're very excited about. KJ Edwards, there's a bunch. And Marcel's ability to run, which we didn't see as much as I kind of expected last year. He did rush for over 500 yards.
Right.
But just talk about the running attack this year, especially with the new offensive coordinator in Holman Wiggins.
Yeah, so I believe in Coach Troop, and he's a great dude. He's such a motivator. I know we got a lot of talent. He's a great talent evaluate of talent. But I think that Morrow, man, is a beast, man.
He is a beast.
Ruben Owens, they call him with the black unicorn. He's gonna ball out. I know those freshmen that are coming in are gonna be ready to go. I really have no doubts that they're going to be able to be big time players. What you need to have at the running back position is the ability to hit home runs. And what I mean by a home run hitter is being able to, if you see daylight, you could take a 10-yard gain and turn it into a 60-yard gain. And all those guys have that potential. So I think that's what is just a huge part of the running game is that aspect.
So remind folks how they can be involved with the Grid Academy.
Yeah, Grid Academy, go to RyanO'Brien.com. We also have back to school training for group training that's going to start up on Sunday as well. And can I do this real quick?
Of course.
Happy birthday to my wife, Christina.
Happy
It's her
birthday, Christina.
today, so.
All right. You guys go enjoy. Get out of here. Go hang out with Christina, man.
I got you.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, David.
Yeah, Ryan O'Brien here on TexAgs Live. Right now we're talking about Guaranteed Bank and Trust. They've been around for over 100 years, 1913 to be exact. They have a century of experience of helping Texans as their community bank. They are a community bank. They want you to feel that. They have 3 great locations in the Bryan-College Station market. They're deeply invested in this region. And their market president, Brandon Sears, leads that Aggie team. So when you go there, you can talk about Aggie sports. You can just talk about the community and find out how community banking can help you. 33 locations in Texas. You've got East Texas, DFW, Houston, Central Texas, and as I mentioned right here in the BCS. They want to support financial education, home ownership, local business, nonprofit efforts right here in this community. And they're known for that exceptional relationship-focused banking. It is gnty.com, the website, gnty.com. It is Guaranteed Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. 0 sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. Got Thomas Bregman on the YouTube chat asking some questions. Got Art in there. Got the whole crew. David Edmonds, stop asking about Oklahoma City. Like, that seems like a personal conversation. Like, hey, man, what are you going to do when you go to Oklahoma? Dave, come on, man. You think anybody but you cares what I'm going to do when I go to Oklahoma City? You're the only one who cares. Sorry, I did make it a spectacle. Let's check in at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Matthew, what do you have, buddy?
I got an interesting one. So if you remember at PKO when Alberts was talking about the jersey patch in Big 12 selling out, it was like $20 million for that and how that will play into the NIL budget. Well, Ohio State today unveils a JP Morgan jersey patch on their football jerseys. So I was wondering, like, if we keep doing this arms race and NIL and keep spending in the trend line that's going upwards, is this something that is going to continue to run rampant throughout now all conferences?
Yeah, potentially. Trev actually spoke about the patches that I think he brought the idea to Texas A&M, and the powers that be felt it wasn't a good fit for us, and A&M could have made some money on it. It seems like not everything is for sale for Texas A&M and other schools too. They just didn't feel like that was, the direction they'd want to go. Will we one day have Kyle Field at blah, blah, blah stadium? That was discussed as well. It's potential, sure. I think it's all potential. At the end of the day, college athletics, and this is a big thing that Trev Alberts talked about, has lagged behind from a sponsorship perspective to the NFL. And while I understand the NFL is a top dog, if you really boil it down to the interest and the 100,000 fans that are at an A&M game every time that there's a game at Kyle Field, there's no reason that they should be, that far behind. So I think the numbers will continue to grow as universities start running their marketing teams more like a NFL franchise. And with that will come more money, and with more money will come for opportunities for your players, and will come opportunity for just to enhance the entire experience. And along that story with Ohio State, I saw this Stanford story that they're trying to unionize there. I don't know if you have any info on that story, but I know that Stanford is trying to get a union going, which is a step closer to what some people fear, and also some folks think is the inevitable next step in this maturation of the NIL era.
Yeah, they basically got like a collection to start like a collective bargaining battle.
Yep.
It's pretty interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm. Anything else for us?
We got a top 10 pass catching units article by CBS Sports. A&M ranked 6th on that, 3rd in the SEC. They highlighted, of course, Craver, Horton, Bussey, Bethel Roman, and then they also added TK Norman, Jerome Miles, Houston Thomas, Richie Anderson, and Micah Riley as quality depth.
Okay. Jerome Miles is a name we don't bring up enough, right? Like, if that guy reaches his potential, I know he's had a couple setbacks. It's another guy we could be talking about at some point. All right, we'll hit a break. When we come back here on TexAgs Live, what do I got planned for you? Well, you can still ask some dumb questions. I don't mind that. And which teams are we reading wrong? That's next on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. So the YouTube page has got some new people popping in. Some are friends, some are enemies. That's fine. Aggie Products 12. I don't think I've seen him chat before. And if it's a business, shout out to Aggie Products 12. What's y'all's schedule prediction? I'm not going to do that. Very bright future. We've got Gregory too. Yes, all that is true. I won't give a schedule prediction because I don't know. I think I told you guys earlier, I feel like this is more of a 9-3-ish feel to the team. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they're 12-0 and win a national championship. I'm not going to rehash something we've talked about for 9 months of my why behind stuff. But I do believe in the head man. I do believe that our quarterback will have a better year than he had last year. And sometimes a better year doesn't mean the stats are all like come down on your turnovers. Better way of saying it. Limit your turnovers and just play efficient football. I think we're gonna be just fine. So I asked the question: what team are we wrong about right now? And when I say we, the collective media, not necessarily you folks at home. David Edmond has his answer. The talking heads are reading OU wrong. I'm calling it now. They have at least a 5-loss season. I can see them turning on Venables quickly. I don't know if I completely agree with you with 5 losses, but I agree with you on them being a team that we are reading like, look, I recognize, it's kind of like I give Coach Elko the benefit of the doubt every year because I know he's a defensive-minded guy. I think Venables gets that benefit of the doubt because of the defense. But you're asking for their quarterback to turn the ball over less, just like A&M is asking for Marcel Reed to turn the ball over less. You're asking for them to run the ball efficiently and better. They did not do a great job of that. And I think you're having to replace some guys on defense, even though I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt because of your coach. So you might be right. A lot of teams, I'm going to use LSU last year as an example. What happens to you early, like there's a lot of narratives that I believe are true in college football. What happens to you early can absolutely push you in one direction. What happens to you late? You win an early season game against Notre Dame. You find yourself undefeated early through some hard but not too hard games. It can push you in a direction the rest of the way. Conversely, you got LSU on the other side. You lose back-to-back games against teams that, by the way, both won double-digit games. And it sends you in a completely different direction where you fire your coach, you start losing games, and yada, yada, yada. Oklahoma, and they're not the only team in this conversation, what they do early could determine what happens late, and it can go those two directions. Pull up their schedule for me, Nick, because I think early on, obviously you got Texas, pretty much mid-season, but, what they do at Georgia and at Michigan, like those early games in September, if they lose those 2 games, then what David Edmond just presented is, they could be a 5-loss team. The second half of the season, not that hard, but he's exactly right, though. What does that do to their mindset the rest of the way? Having to go to Florida, having to host Ole Miss, and then having to host A&M back-to-back weeks, 2 teams that were in the playoffs. You basically are playing 1, 2, 3 playoff teams from last year, and a bunch of probably will make the playoffs this year. All right, so you're right about that. I already talked about Florida, but that's another one that I think people are reading wrong, that they just expect kind of a down year per se because they have a new coach. I think people are wrong there. I think John Summerall is a really good coach. Jaden Ball, the whole crew. I think they are a team that are going to be, they're not like 9-10 win good, but I think they're going to be significantly better. And if they do well earlier, it will help. People focus on the quarterback. I think that is absolutely fair when you have a new quarterback. I do it for other teams, so but I'm curious what the culture is going to look like under Summerall, the identity, the discipline, all the things that we love about what Elko was able to do early on. I think you could see something similar there with the Florida Gators. They'll be better in situational football. And if they are 5-1 to start, they will not be considered a rebuild anymore. They'll be considered a team that could contend for an SEC title. I don't think they're going to win. I think they're closer to an 8-win team than they are a 4-win team, but I don't think they're quite yet an 8-win team. The public narrative with LSU. Everybody is like all in on LSU probably being a playoff team because that's what LSU does. But do they? When have they made the playoffs?
Been a while.
I'll hang up and listen. Right? It's been a minute. Look, and Billy's the one has said it louder than I have, but he's exactly right. Of course we would take their history over ours. They've won 5 national championships in the, is it 5? 4 national championships in the 2000s? Whatever it is. Like, of course we would change. Of course we would take 2019. Of course A&M has not, but I'm just saying who's been a more consistent program the last 6 years? They won a national championship. They went to an SEC championship game. I recognize coming from an Aggie saying that. It's like, wait, you can't say that. I'm saying it. I am saying it. I think Lane Kiffin's great. I do. I think he is great. I think he's got some demons. I think he's got some issues. If he's in the right situation, and I think Ole Miss was the right situation, things work out great. I think he grew up a little bit after Florida Atlantic and his time with Coach Saban. I think all that to be true. I still think he's Lane Kiffin. I mean, look at what happened at the end of last year. I'm sorry. I can't get down with a guy who leaves during a playoff run. I just can't. It's my dream job. Oh, my God. I'm going to be so sad if I don't get my dream job. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, those kids count on you. But whatever. I understand the calendar sucks. But number 1 portal class, again, did they have it? I know they were last year. They're up there, portal class. But they're a team that new head coach, new quarterback, new offensive coordinator, a bunch of portal additions, like, and a schedule that's pretty difficult to start. Like, in the first month, you've got back-to-back with your old team and Texas A&M, a team that has won 2 straight, right? 2 straight. A&M's looking for their 3rd straight against them. So, and again, that's not even to say Clemson to start. I'm a big Dabo guy. I hope Dabo comes in there and takes care of business. I don't know if that's good for A&M, but I just like Dabo. So anyway, anything less than a playoff berth for LSU is a huge disappointment. Anything less. Because he has, what he has done as the quarterback whisperer that he is he basically has had a less roster and a place that he said it was hard to recruit to, and he had them in the semifinals even though he didn't coach that last game. Or last couple games. So, to me, they're a team that I don't know if we can read. If things hit, I do this with A&M a lot. When you have too many things that have to hit, it's hard for them all to hit. The beauty for A&M in this conversation, and like there's other teams that have to hit in a lot of areas too. It's not just A&M. If A&M has this, if A&M has that, they're going to win. There's a lot of teams. Alabama's in that conversation. LSU's in that conversation. But as I mentioned, the early part of their season for LSU matters. The Clemson, the Ole Miss game, the A&M game, right? So if they go 1-2, they can still have a really nice season, no doubt. I mean, but are we reading them wrong because of their situation? Auburn. I am not as high as some of the folks that I talked to on them as people were in Tampa. But what they will tell you is they've had nothing but coaching malpractice for the last 6-7 years, right? They've just had idiots running the show. And if you just fix the idiots running the show, by the way, those idiots unfortunately beat us a couple years ago, which bugs me. But if you have idiots running the show and you almost win a bunch of games, what is it when you have a competent coach? Alex Golesh has a system. He's got a quarterback he believes in. It'll be interesting how that transitions, and Byron Brown fits in the SEC on a weekly basis. I know they beat Florida last year, but what does that look like every week? They feel good about their tempo. They feel good about their quarterback. They feel really good. Why do people hesitate? Well, their schedule, as most people, but it's new. So are people reading them wrong? Could Auburn become a dangerous 7-5 team? Absolutely they could. A&M doesn't play them this year, but they could be. As for Alabama, I think there's 2 things that you're hearing from the media about Alabama. You're hearing Kalen DeBoer is losing control of a program, and he's not the right fit post Saban. You hear that. You also hear it's Alabama. They'll figure it out. They got all the talent in the world, and now this is year 3 for Kalen DeBoer. He's got his guys in there. It'll be fine. Yes, it may take a little while for our new quarterback to figure it out, but they feel great. Okay. The reason people are sometimes a little they have questionable thoughts on A&M is for the way the season ended, right? That's the same thing for Alabama. Alabama did make it to the SEC championship game. They did win a playoff game, but they got beat against Georgia big time, and they got embarrassed by Indiana. And when you're mighty Alabama, you can't get embarrassed. You shouldn't lose, but you can't get embarrassed. And that's why public opinion. And look, whoever followed Saban was going to struggle anyway. You follow a legend, it's hard to live up to that. But it's the way they lost. So people do assume that Alabama will reload. And maybe they will. But maybe we're also underrating them too. I'm of the opinion like, yeah, I see what people think about Alabama, and I kind of agree, but I'm also like, guys, they won a freaking playoff game. Like, that's a great season for a lot of programs. Not for Alabama. But my thing about them is not about Kalen DeBoer. It's about a new quarterback. And again, that's always going to, if I'm going to have questions about a brand new offensive line, you can damn bet I'm going to have questions about a new quarterback. Like that's, if it's Keelan Russell, if it's Austin Mack, most people think it's going to be Keelan Russell. He might be Bryce Young day one. He might be. It may take some time. Hopefully, they take some time and it's a transition, and especially when A&M goes to Tuscaloosa. But for Alabama, I think September is going to determine a lot because that's when you're going to get a feel for, are things clicking for them? Are they clicking? So am I overreacting to the quarterback situation at Alabama? I don't know. As for A&M, what are the narratives? Lost 10 draft picks, 4 new offensive linemen, new offensive coordinator, tough schedule. They probably take a step back. But it seems like the SEC media doesn't think so. I mean, maybe a step back from being 11-2, but not from being a playoff team. I think the conversation might be missing the bigger picture here is who is returning and what that return means to the overall strength of a team. Who's returning? Well, Mike Elko. Marcel Reed, your quarterback's returning. It's got to mean something, especially a guy that was in the Heisman conversation. Your defensive backs pretty much returning with the addition of Ricky Gibson. No Will Lee, but you get Ricky Gibson. So hopefully we call that a wash. And Julio Humphrey. So you have, if not the deepest wide receiver room in college football, you have one of the deepest ones. Mario Craver, returning. People love to talk about the offensive line, not because this is a weakness, but assuming 4 starters automatically means uncertainty, and it does. But when you've got guys who've come up the system, like Blake Ivy, Tyler Thomas, Lamont Rogers, when you have these guys here, along with what we have that came in the portal, I think you knew it was going to be a transition no matter what when you lose 4 guys to the NFL. You knew that. There was no way to avoid it. But I believe the approach of adding people from the portal with SEC experience and the guys that you went out and recruited and you've been, kind of gearing them up for this moment. Lamont Rogers, like these are guys that they may be ready, they may not be ready, but they're going to be ready at some point this year. It is the perfect transition. And based on your circumstance, which you cannot change, you can't change that 4 guys went to the NFL on the offensive line. There couldn't be a better game plan based on the situation. The only question is, did they get the right guys? And so far, we have no reason to question Coach Elko. As for Marcel Reed, the national question about him is, can he take a step forward? The guy was really good last year. He threw too many turnovers. Okay. 4 at the end, no touchdowns. Okay. The schedule got harder. He needs to be better. That's true. But the overall body of work would say he was a damn good quarterback. And there are at least some now in the national media that I do believe are starting to say, like, you know what, I think we've been a little bit too critical of this guy. But that's called being an SEC quarterback. When you're an SEC quarterback, Arch learned it, Gunnar Stockton learned it. Like, when things are great, you're going to get the love. And when things aren't so great, you're going to get all the blame. And that's just life as an SEC quarterback. So which of the teams that I spoke about are we reevaluating on October 1st? Is Florida going to be one of them? We're going to have a lot of data points to point out to say, like, you know what, I think they're kind of good. Or, no, David, you overreacted to Florida. I do think Florida is better than people say. LSU. Because I do believe in brands, as you know, I do believe in Lane Kiffin. I understand why they get the hype, and they're LSU. But again, until I see how healthy Sam Levitt is. Am I right? He did not throw one pass during spring practice, right? I believe I'm right on that. So, like, that's a lot of and a guy that had his best year and he was really good with an incredible running game. Cam Scadaboo was incredible. Auburn, I don't know enough other than I know that Golish and Byron Brown, I mean, being able to bring a system and a core group of players to your team here on a team that competed against SEC teams and competed against Miami, it may be a smoother transition because you have a good coach. Bama, probably my biggest question mark because I could see them hitting big. I could also see them taking another step back. And then, after you give Kalen DeBoer all this money not to go to Michigan, what does that look like? So that's kind of where I am on teams. Maybe on the other side, we can hear what people are saying about that as well. All right, if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can call us up on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. That number is 979-693-1150. Let's check in with Matthew Coughlin at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center before I do my live spot as I tap dance a little bit. Coughlin, what do you got?
Well, we had the USA Track and Field Outdoor Championships this past weekend, and there's a lot of former Aggie Land members in that. So Cameron Dixon finished third in the 200-meter. Tamara Chapman earned silver in the heptathlon. James Smith, the second, finished with a new PR in the second place finish in the 400 men's hurdles. Shamir Little finished third in 400-meter women's hurdles. And it was a great weekend overall for them.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you. We'll have some more. We'll have to see what Coughlin can set on the agenda for the next segment before we are joined by Chris Doering of the SEC Network. And we'll talk about Florida, by the way. I did a lot of prep for Doering on Florida, which is why I think I've been a little bit more passionate about them today as I kind of did my research. And I'm starting to think they're going to be better than people think. When it comes to financial advice and independence matters, and that's why I'm talking about our good people at Paragon Financial Advisors. They're Aggie-owned and operated. They're independent. They're fee-only fiduciary firm. That means that their recommendations aren't influenced by commissions, proprietary products, or sales quotas. So whether you're managing family wealth or growing a successful business, their team helps clients make informed financial decisions with comprehensive planning and disciplined investment management. And for many business owners, that means that developing strategies not only to grow the business, but also prepare for one of the biggest financial events of their lives, the eventual sale or transition of that business. Visit paragon-adv.com or learn how to get independent advice by talking to the good people there at Paragon Financial Advisors. Aggie-owned, independent, serving clients nationwide. It is Paragon Financial Advisors.
What's up, everybody? I'm here to tell you about Fratella Italian Cafe. If anyone knows anything about Italian food, it's me, Billy Lucci. And Fratella has the best Italian food in BCS. Located at 3901 South Texas Avenue, Fratella is known for their handmade pasta dishes and feature lasagna, beef cannelloni, chicken parmesan, chicken fettuccine alfredo, a couple of my favorites, just a big old bowl of plain old spaghetti and some manicotti. Really recommend the manicotti. That's my go-to. And don't walk out of there without trying the fresh, piping hot breadsticks and the homemade in-house cheesecake, which is incredible. It's great for dining in, catering, gift cards, and even shipping, which they do nationwide. Fratella's is Aggie-owned and operated, and is an official restaurant partner of Texas A&M Athletics. I'll see you there.
As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave. That is at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favors are on their way. So a couple of things on the chat I wanted to read. I'm not going to read that one. Not going to read that one. Ag X80PETE. Have never understood the hype around Mateer. Makes very bad decisions under pressure and was erratic passing even before the injury. I mean, you looked at his highlight film before Oklahoma. He seemed pretty legit. And I thought he was pretty good last year. I did. I thought he was pretty good last year until he wasn't. And in that, like what we say about Marcel and others, right? I think we're always going to overreact to certain folks, right? Or quarterbacks, I should say. So I think he's better than how about this? Right in the middle. He's better than what I think people who are completely against him, and he's certainly not as good as and I think that's almost fair for everybody. Like, you could say that about Arch. When he was having his struggles last year, he was not as bad as people said. I think he's got to get more accurate. And he certainly wasn't Joe Montana at the end of the season. He was really good. He was absolutely really good. What did he complete? 48% of his passes against A&M?
Yeah, it was pretty low.
But he made game-winning plays. And to me, sometimes the game-winning plays matter so much more than what the stats would represent. So he made game-winning plays, especially against us. Dave, I'm not reading that one, buddy. I'm not talking about Spectrum. But I'll read this one. The real answer only is, did we improve at the OC level this year? Or did it stay the same, or will we see a dip? So the offense last year, play calling was not the problem in the two losses. Now, there were several times I saw play calling last year where I was like, why do we call that play? Why do we do that? I don't have the benefit of what they, the analytics and what they think would work on a particular defense. I don't have that luxury, so I don't know what they were going with. I'm just going with what my gut would say, and it's always different from a press box or from the stands than when you have a bunch of information. But there was times I didn't like that. I don't think the offense was the problem. Now, you could say, I know some folks like to say the offense was not as good the last two games of the year, and was that because Colin Klein had already made up his mind? I'm just not there like a lot of people are. I'm not personally, but I understand why people say it. So you want to believe that? That's certainly on you. James Ellis, I'm sold on 11-1. Hope so. I'm not, but I hope so. Let's see what else. And recently watching all of our games for 25, our OC's performance dropped big time in the last two games. Okay, going back to what we said. By the way, are you an optimistic ag or are you a pessimistic ag? The optimistic Ags won 73% or are winning to 27%. I've never met you people. The people I see or that I talk to, my brother, he's probably on the pessimistic side, like people who write, like, well, let me rephrase that. I think you could be both, like me. Like you can be like very optimistic until the one bad thing happens, and then everything goes on the opposite side, right? Like once you lose, that's it. It's the worst season ever, yada, yada. Anyway, we go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Coughlin, give me something good.
Well, we've heard a lot of people talk about what will happen in this upcoming season, but we haven't heard much from the virtual world per se. ESPN did
The virtual world? What are you talking about?
Simulating the season on EA Sports College Football 27. They did 26 simulations of this upcoming season, and there's some good and there's some bad. So I'll start with the good. 4 times A&M won the SEC, and in one of the seasons, Marcel Reed put up 4,500 yards and 43 touchdowns, leading Texas A&M to a college football championship victory for the first title since 1993.
Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
And I mean this. I'm not mad. I'm not meaning this rudely. I'm asking a genuine question.
Yeah.
Nick, participate. Listeners, participate. Does anybody care, honestly, about a simulation on a video game? Like, do you like? Does it make you feel better? Oh, dude, the freaking scouts at EA, is it EA, Madden?
Yeah.
The freaking scouts at EA got us winning 14% of the time. Freaking A, let's go. Like, does anybody actually hear that information and make them more optimistic? I'm actually, because anytime I hear like, okay, facts, fantasy football, I'm out. I know we play it on the air. That's it. That's the only time I listen to it. Fantasy football and like video game simulation and watching others play video games, that's not for me. Okay, I know the kids love watching people play. That's why when, Marcel's playing Madden here, people watch, right? Or college football, they watch. But does anybody in the right mind listen to like, bro, EA, Nick, like, do you like when you hear that, you're like, bro, I'm in. That's it. We're going 12-0, buddy. EA simulated it. 17% of the time we won and Marcel threw for 4,000. Oh my God, EA 9 times said we were going to be 4-8. Like, does any of that move the needle for you?
I will say the one, like the piece of content like that I would watch or am interested in, not because I think it has any merit or like, I don't think that it's a good model to base a prediction off of, right? But like, I know Madden always does their Super Bowl simulation whenever that matchups actually finalized, and maybe college football did it last year for the championship game. I don't know, but that kind of stuff, like when we know the two teams, makes it a little bit more interesting because I think it's a little bit more believable, but not for like a full season simulation. And if it took 26 times to get a few outcomes like that, I don't know. But like you said, David, it's the kids are into the games. They're into the games. I don't play them anymore. But if it moves the needle for them, then, more power to them.
I'm not part of the making game community, right? Like, I don't know those dudes. If you are a programmer?
Developer.
Okay. But I do know this. Coach Elko said it at PKO. I'm sorry I'm going back to quotes from him, but it was true. The people who are doing the evaluations don't know, okay? They don't know. Like, I've gone to lunch with these people. I've done interviews. Like, you are not evaluating every player on the A&M roster. You're just not. You don't know. You haven't been to practice.
How
the hell would you know?
I believe does that is Matthew Dawson.
Dawson. Yeah,
he might be the only one.
Different. There's one Dawson. Okay? Does EA Sport have a bunch of Dawsons? Probably. Right? They probably do, actually. In fact, he'd probably be dumb in that room. That being said, and he's super smart. So smart here. That's not hard. We're a talk show. But I just don't think, nobody knows how pieces will fit together. You can't. Oh my God, LSU, the greatest recruiting class ever last year. Amazing. Oh, 22 A&M. Oh my God, the greatest recruiting class ever. This guy, this voice I'm doing, getting a lot of run today. 2 guests on 2 consecutive days. It's hard. All right? It's hard. Anyway, when we come back on TexAgs Live, somebody who probably has evaluated every player ever to play, Chris Doering, SEC Network, our dear friend. That's coming up next on TexAgs Live. All right, we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. So apparently, I'm not the. By the way, Chris Doering is about to join us. I'm not the only one that thinks certain teams that I talked about winning more games this year. You said you found an article on the same topic.
Yeah, CBS Sports did an article about their rebound teams, and somehow, some way, Arkansas has found its way on the list, along with South Carolina and Florida.
Well, I've been talking about Florida all day, and part of it's because I was preparing for this interview with Chris Doering here on TexAgs Live. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our dear friend Chris Doering, SEC Network, and of course Florida Great, joining us here on the show. What's up, Chris? Oh, I don't hear him. Nick, is there something going on? Let's see if we can get him here in a second. I hate when that happens. If we need to call him, we will. Let's see what's up. Nick, give me an update of what to expect. All right, we're just going to call him. This is the greatest radio we've ever done. Coughlin, kind of read for a second so I can get Chris's number and have the station call him. Okay.
So ESPN did a 100 games that explain college football in 2026. And now this isn't the 100 greatest games of all time. So in 2014, Texas A&M played South Carolina. Big beatdown by Texas A&M, by the way, 52-28. So it was talking about the networks. Basically, ESPN aligned SEC Network debuted, kicking off with that Week 1 conference battle. Sandstorm blared, and then the Aggies romped South Carolina. Another one from Texas A&M that made the list was November 10th, 2012, when number 15 Texas A&M took down number 1 Alabama. And what they say about that one is the next huge round of realignment nearly kicked off the Big 12 as discontent with unequal money distribution and Texas presence led Nebraska to leave for the Big 10, Colorado for the Pac-12, and Texas A&M and Missouri for the SEC. It also produced immediate magic for the SEC when its first season in the league, A&M introduced Johnny Manziel to the world, and he led an 11-win charge and a legendary win over Alabama.
Good stuff. I didn't hear anything you said. I just needed you to tap dance for a moment as I prepare to get Chris Doering here on TexAgs Live. I do see my good friends at Bryan Broadcasting are dialing up his number. Let's hope we get him here on the program here in the next couple seconds. It's, yep, he's got him on there. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Chris, I think somebody doesn't want us to do radio, man, because we both kind of got busy last week when you were available, when I was available, and here we are again struggling to get each other on the show. What's up, man?
Yeah, man. Hey, the biggest disappointment was that I actually put a shirt on for you guys and tried to look presentable. So, I mean, now I would have just kept my shirt off if I'd have known we were doing a phoner.
Hey, so I've been talking about Florida today, as I mentioned earlier, because as I was preparing for the interview today, I'm one of those who feels like, I don't know how good they're going to be, okay? I'm not saying they're a playoff team. But I feel like you've got a coach that inspires, and you're not going to have boneheaded decisions. Am I wrong for thinking this team is going to be significantly improved from last year to this year?
I think you're right. I think Florida has the chance to be the biggest jump from last year's win total to this year's win total. And some of it, has to do with what you talked about, the inspiration aspect, the elimination of self-inflicted wounds. Some of that, I think, has to do with the staff around the previous head coach, which, I think there's some due criticism there. You look at what Coach Summerall's been able to build, going out and getting Buster Faulkner from Georgia Tech, a highly respected young up-and-coming coordinator on the offensive side. Brad White, an experienced SEC coordinator for a long time in this league. Assistants that include, former Gators like Phil Troutwine and Bam Hardman, mixing in other guys that have SEC experience. So I really like the staff, but let's go back to the man himself. I think John Summerall is the perfect fit for what Florida needs right now. He brings energy. He brings enthusiasm on the sideline. He brings authenticity. And the biggest thing is he was able to get people to buy in to kind of what his vision is for this program. He's done every single interview, done every single podcast, been at every single event, touching people and getting them excited, providing hope. And the biggest thing is getting the former player, the past players that were on last year's team to buy in. I mean, you had a potential mass exodus through the transfer portal, but you got Dallas Wilson and Vernell Brown to stay at the receiver spot. Maybe the biggest get was keeping Jaden Baugh. A lot of people thought he'd end up at Texas, getting Miles Graham and Jaden Woods on the defense back. There's a lot of really good players around, and it's almost an indictment of last year's staff to think about all the quality players you have and only winning 4 games. I think if they can get the quarterback piece right, this could be a team that could go from 4 wins to maybe 8 wins this season.
Talking to Chris Doering here on TexAgs Live. All right, so who's somebody that you came away from at SEC Media Days saying, you know what, I don't always buy into the hype or the talk, but I feel better about this team after talking to coaches, players, and media?
Yeah, I think it was Ole Miss to me, and that started with a little preview down in Oxford. Peter Burns and I have been working on some different projects with Regions Bank, and one of them was a sit-down with Trinidad Chambliss that we did in Oxford at his condo right off the square the week before Media Days. I just felt like outside of LSU and Lane Kiffin, there was no bigger amount of pressure than what was on Ole Miss, Pete Golding, and specifically Trinidad Chambliss. He gets an extra year to come back. Can he kind of regain that hot hand that he had at the end of the season as he, took them through multiple playoff wins? I think every season in college football is a new one in and of itself, and very difficult to try to replicate. But after sitting with him and then seeing PG basically own Media Days on that Wednesday he was there, I really feel like this is a team that has regained the chemistry and has the right leadership. And I know their schedule is difficult. I was shocked to see that the analytics only have Ole Miss as a 4% chance to get to the SEC championship, but I picked them. I'm taking that 4% chance. I got Georgia and Ole Miss playing in the SEC championship with the Rebs making their first appearance in Atlanta for the championship weekend ever.
Which coach maybe made the biggest impression on you, not named John Summerall, because I thought he held court. He was great.
Yeah, not named Summerall, and I'll throw Pete Golding out too, because I've gotten to know him pretty well the last couple of years, and I expected him to do really well. He did kind of exceed expectations there, but I thought Kirby Smart, man, Kirby was as laid back and relaxed with us as I've ever seen him at a Media Days, and maybe that's because it was me and Aaron Murray he was doing the interview with and felt comfortable there. But I honestly believe it's a unique position for Georgia and for Kirby specifically. I don't know about how you felt, David, but I didn't think a lot of people really were talking about Georgia and oddly Alabama either. It was a lot of other talk about Texas and Oklahoma and A&M and some other teams. But I felt like Georgia was under the radar, and I think he feels really confident about a team that was young in a lot of positions last year, getting some needed experience and getting healthy again. I think not enough people are talking about Georgia, and I think it reflected in a relaxed kind of mannerism from Kirby that we hadn't seen before.
Chris, I agree with you. I actually did a segment on Georgia and A&M where I felt like, and for A&M, the ultimate sign of respect is they get voted by the SEC media in the top 4, yet it felt like people were not talking about them, which is kind of like where I think Elko wants them to be, like respect, but not buzz.
Yeah, I think there was a time that A&M was talked about every offseason leading up to the start of camp with a lot of buzz, and that expectation was maybe a little unfounded. I thought Coach Elko was incredibly relaxed. I had a chance to visit with him when I was in College Station back in April for the Texas and Texas A&M baseball weekend. Really impressed with how he's kind of settled into being the head coach there. Feels very comfortable, and some of the players I talked to kind of mimicked that to me in the way that he's developed a comfort being the CEO. This is a team I think I'm really excited about. Obviously, I was fortunate enough to get out and watch one of the spring practices while I was in town. The lines of scrimmage look like SEC lines of scrimmage. The receiver position I think is probably as deep and talented and versatile as anyone in the entire conference. So I feel like they've done enough to put the pieces around Marcel Reed to really help him take that next step, including, I think the game planning will be a little bit better this year for the inclusion of his dangerous running ability.
Talking to Chris Doering here on TexAgs Live. So what do you think about Marcel? Where are you based on what you've seen from him on the field over the last year and a half, and also maybe some of the steps he took this spring?
Yeah, I like Marcel a lot. I mean, when he's at his best, he's just flowing and not thinking. And I honestly believe that getting his legs going is what helps him be more accurate throwing the football and kind of eliminate the overthinking that takes place sometimes. A great example in my mind of that was the beginning of the third quarter against South Carolina. They're down 4 touchdowns or whatever it is, and he makes a big scramble, I think, on a 4th down that picks up a first down, and then from there on, he's just in a rhythm. And I don't think they did a very good job of putting pressure on the defense by getting him more involved in the quarterback run game against Miami or getting him outside of the pocket. I think he's got a unique skill set that they're gonna better game plan with this year. And I also think that another year of experience under your belt playing in this conference certainly will help. So I'm a big fan of Marcel Reed. I think again with the pieces they put at the receiver position and tight end position, I think that the offense is going to have a big year this season.
Where are you on Texas? Obviously, all the talent in the world. A very difficult schedule this year, not like the first couple of years that I thought that, well, at least the first year was not as difficult from an SEC standard. Texas got all this talent. Do you think they have what it takes to live up to the hype that they've gotten the last few years?
Let's talk about the hype, though. The hype to me, and again, where Georgia was not talked about enough, I thought Texas was over-talked about. This idea that they're going to be the SEC champion or right back in the SEC championship game again. Until I see them beat Georgia, until I see them match the physicality that the Bulldogs have brought in that matchup the last couple seasons, I'm not ready to pass the torch yet. Now, I'm a big fan of Arches. I thought Arch in that game against Florida did a great job of overcoming some of the issues he was having with being aware of the rush. I thought he stood in there. I thought he delivered some great throws under duress. It looked like he took hits and got himself up and built confidence through that. And then from there on, it was the trajectory to kind of what we saw Arch become at the end of the year. So I'm high on them. I thought they did a good job with putting pieces around the quarterback there as well, going out and getting Cam Coleman. You're talking about 1 and barely 1A between he and Ryan Wingo. Those two number one receivers are going to be tough to defend. Hollywood Smothers, I think, was a great addition at the running back spot too. So my biggest question is, can they be more stout? Can they be more physical on the offensive line? Because that was an embarrassment last year, the way they played with some inconsistency, particularly in that game against Florida.
Chris, before I let you go, the 9-game SEC schedule, I don't think any of us really know what that's going to feel like when it comes to wins and losses and what rosters look like at the end of the season. I know other conferences have had 9-game schedules, but it's not the gauntlet of the SEC, and I still believe that to my core. What do you think about it, and what do you think we'll learn about it?
It's been 3 decades since I played in this league, and at that point in time, it was an 8-game conference schedule, and I can tell you that I can vividly remember the physical and mental exhaustion that you have by the end of the year. Now you throw in a deeper, more talented league that has 16 teams in it. You put in a 9-game, conference schedule. I just think there's going to be a lot of cannibalism and maybe even worse. A lot of what we've seen, I think Georgia's been a victim of that the last couple of years. They make it through. They get to the SEC championship game. They get into the playoff, and then they're beat up. They're fatigued, and they get out physical like they did by Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl 2 years ago. So I worry about what this is going to do to the league as a whole. Is the public, is the fan base, the media, and most importantly, the College Football Playoff Committee going to adjust to what a win-loss record looks like with a 9-game conference schedule? Because not all losses are created equally throughout the country, as we know. So I think there's a lot of unknown that we're going to have to figure out and see in year one of this expanded conference schedule, how everybody adapts to it. And, I think if you talk privately to a lot of these coaches, I think they felt like they were duped because the expectation was if they were going to vote for a 9-game conference schedule, there was going to be an expansion to 16 teams. Honestly, I think what's best for the SEC is a 24-team playoff, and I know that Commissioner saying he's taking a little bit of a stance against that right now, but I honestly believe with the depth of talent in the SEC, it benefits our league more so than the Big Ten or anybody else. And I think it's just a matter of the finances, particularly the television partnerships, before we ultimately see that go to 24 teams.
Chris, great stuff, brother, man. I appreciate your time. Let's do it again here during the season.
Yeah, man, anytime. Love being on with you, bro. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. The great CD here on TexAgs Live. We'll hit a break here. We'll come back with a final segment on TexAgs Live. And, yeah, there's more chatter to get into. That and more. It's TexAgs. Jim in Cyprus sends in, the last 2 games, we scored 20 points, 17-3. Why was the play calling good? Second down was a run up the middle, often enough for us to call it from the stands. All right. Now, you guys can correct me. Did I say the play calling was good? Or I think I said, and if I didn't, tell me. What do I hear in the background? You hear that? Anyway, I think I said was, I don't think they lost the game because of play calling. Is that what I said? Just maybe I didn't.
No.
What did I say?
I just think you were saying the conversation was about Colin Klein and was his mind elsewhere, and you said you don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't think that's why we lost the game, I guess is my point, or those games. Now, obviously, something sucked at the end of the year, and if we want to blame Colin Klein, we can blame Colin Klein. What I am saying, I think the reason A&M lost those games wasn't the play calling, although I probably disagreed with a lot of play calling. Why I think A&M lost those games is that they weren't able to run the ball. Can you look up what the numbers were in both of those games real quick before we go? We got a minute left, so probably not enough time, but see if you can get that real quick. But that's why I think the offensive line going against some pretty good defensive lines, and that's an understatement, and the inability to run the ball at a rate that would have gotten that offense going. So, Coughlin, do you have some of those numbers?
Yeah, so in the Texas game, this is from our lead running back would have been Ruben Owens for 48 yards. Marcel Reed had 71. In the Miami game, it would have been Marcel Reed with 27, Ruben Owens with 21.
So that, to me, is why A&M's offense wasn't as good. Now, you can say it was the play calling. I don't think that's the reason they lost the game. I also don't think the plays were great towards the end of the stretch. So both things can be true. All right, no more arguing. I'm exhausted. Like this two guest thing. Huh. Bro, I got to talk? Nobody told me that about the gig. All right, it's TexAgs Live. We'll see you mañana.